Hey everybody, this is the Slightest Review. I'm here today to talk to you about a show I loved growing up as a child, a teenager, and I even watched it when I was an adult. That show is PBS's The Magic School Bus. I loved that show to death. It was highly engaging. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It got young kids into science. This show was very adventurous. It was very exciting. It had great characters. It had a great voice cast. And it actually taught me stuff. Like, I remember back when I was in high school and I was in some class and I was telling the teacher or some, I told some of the kids that like, oh yeah, if you constantly eat carrots and only carrots and like that's it, you will turn orange. And nobody believed me, so I asked the teacher and she confirmed it. I think she was like a science teacher or a nutrition wellness teacher or something like that. And I just felt like so happy, like I was like impressing everybody because nobody believed you could turn orange just by eating carrots. And I remember that because Arnold did the same thing. This show had an array of topics that they tackled. They went into outer space. They taught you about animals and their natural habitat. They took you underwater and taught you how many animals procreate and how many animals help each other out and are partners and stuff. They taught you how do plants grow, how do they get their own food. They taught you how your food digests in your body and where all it goes. They taught you like why muscles are important and why oxygen is even more important for muscles. There was an episode where Ralphie, he was trying to build a robot because he was trying to get out of his chores. And in order for him to build it, first he had to understand how the human body even works. The joints, the muscles, the ligaments, the brain, the heart, what fuels a body and stuff in order to make his robot. There was a time they taught you how the weather works, like how clouds have like little precipitation of rain droplets. And then when it gets really full, it releases like a rain and a storm. And then when the rain hits the ground and the sun comes out, it erodes the water, drying it up, and the gas goes back into the clouds, and it does it all over again. It taught you how stars are formed and how they implode. It taught you about all the planets in our solar system. This show only lasted for 4 seasons, but it surely taught people a lot. It was one of the most educational shows out there. You learned more on this show than you ever would like in school. And it still holds up till today. Like heck, I own it on DVD. It's on Netflix right now. However, I can't say the same about the Netflix original The Magic School Bus Rides Again series. The Magic School Bus Rides Again was just, in my opinion, a disaster. It did not hold up to the original whatsoever, especially the animation. You would think in when did this come out? In 2019, I think. You would think the animation would be good. Both seasons came out in the same year. And it divided the fan base. Now, granted, it was meant for little kids and to get them into science, but we all know who it was really meant for. It was meant for like to get us adults who watched the original one as a kid and try to get younger people to watch this. So basically, it's just a marketing ploy, and this has happened a lot. And I'm really sick and tired. That's why I don't like reboots. However, this isn't really a reboot. They say it's a revival. With this new series, it's just like, it just didn't have the heart and the feel of the original one. One thing that made the original one so great was that the kids would shrink down and turn into animals or insects or like whatever to help them further understand what's going on in the subject that they're learning about. In this rebooted or revival series, they don't do that. Instead, they give you electronic pods and you go around in that. That's no fun. Like what would you rather do? Live in a world that's real, but you have a magic school bus and it can transform you into anything? Or would you rather hop into like a little tiny machine and just zoom around in it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, when they came out with those specials after the show was pretty much getting canned, like people did not love this series whatsoever. And it really divided the fan base. Even some of the original stars of And so it's like, it had 2 seasons, and then people just wasn't feeling it. So then they decided, okay, we're gonna come out with a couple of movies, like specials, and I think there was like maybe 3 or 4. And then that's when they find. Okay, here's the thing. I only watched the first. Sorry about that. That was the phone. Okay, so I've only watched the first season. I will not watch the second one, and I will not watch the specials. However, I did catch a clip of the specials. Maybe things improved in the second season. I don't know, but it still got canceled after only 2 seasons. But I do know in the specials, they finally made the kids into animals. It took them that long. Now, one reason why they say they gave them pods, electronic pods to go around in, is because they said they wanted to get kids more invested in science. They could have done that by turning them into animals and stuff. There are so many scientists today that are scientists as a result of the Magic School Bus. Now, something I talked about in the first recording is that they changed the animation style. Now it's cheap flash animation, and it is cheap. Like, it's not that good old hand-drawn stuff that you saw back in the old days. Now they gave all the characters a redesign. All the faces look different. Pretty much everybody has the same face. Now that's how it was in the original one too. Everybody had the same face structure, but their hair and their eyes made them look different enough to where you knew who they were. Like certain characters will have like different eyes than another one to show like because they're a different race and stuff. That's one thing I loved about this show. It was diverse. Like you had just about almost every type of like race up in this show. Almost. But yeah, in the new one, everybody just looks the same. And for the most part, everybody's hair is kind of like the same for the most part too. So everybody just looks the same, but you can kind of still make out who some certain people are. However, when I saw the trailer, I actually thought Wanda was Phoebe. But then I'm all like, oh no, wait, maybe that is Wanda because she kind of looks Asian a little bit and her hair is black. And then I found out Phoebe's not even in this series. They replaced her with another character. Now, I have nothing against Jyoti. I don't know what I said in the first recording, but maybe I said something against her. But like, I don't like having Phoebe replaced. Phoebe was one of my all-time favorites, and to replace her pissed me off. Phoebe had a cool catchphrase talking about, well, in my old school, we used to do this and blah, blah, blah. Every sentence almost. Because this show used to have a lot of catchphrases. Everybody had really cool catchphrases. But Jyoti was just, they made her super annoying. I think I did talk about that in the other one, so I probably won't really go too much in detail. But let's just say, they tried to make her into they forced her onto us, and that really sucked. One thing that was good about her is that her ethnicity. They never had an Indian character in the original series. But a lot of the catchphrases that made this show memorable are now gone. Arnold still keeps his. Wanda lost hers. It's been a long time since I watched this. I don't really recall the other kids having their catchphrase, but maybe they did later on. They couldn't even really get the animation right sometimes. Like in the first season, Janice, who is Arnold's cousin, she had freckles. And then her hair was a little bit more straight. Then in the second season, her hair is more curly and her freckles are gone. It's like, I don't get that. Now, one problem people had with this was whitewashing. Now, okay, in the original series, there were 2 black characters, Keisha and Tim. And they was pretty dark in the original series. In this rebooted series, they've been very, very lightened. And we all know why that is. It's to appeal to a white audience and stuff. But it pissed off the black audience. Now, when it comes to Keisha, now, one of the things that confused a lot of people is that when Kate McKinnon got cast, they assumed she would be playing the original Miss Frizzle. I'm thinking to myself, okay, her voice quality is kind of like the same and everything. Then we saw her drawing, and we all like, well, this don't look like Miss Frizzle. She looks totally young with long hair and everything. Well, that's her sister. And let's just say Kate McKinnon is no Lily Tomlin. And like, no offense to Kate McKinnon, because I do love myself some Kate McKinnon, but she just didn't really fit this role. She fit it in her own way, but it's not the Frizzle that everybody know and love. Strangely enough, the Frizzle that everybody know and love is still in this series. She shows up at the end of each episode to tell you what's going to go on in the next episode. And it's kind of like, well, if you're gonna do that, then why you just didn't bring the actress back full freaking time? One reason why that probably is because the original voice actress, she has gotten older, and her voice has gotten older. Therefore, it sounds slightly different. She doesn't sound the same way she used to. So that's probably one reason why. Another thing with the original old Miss Frizzle is that, okay, Miss Frizzle always looked older than me. She always looked like she was about 40, and she always looked like she was Jewish or something like that. In this series, she looks younger in the face, and she kind of still looks Jewish and kind of don't. But one strange thing is they gave her a golden monkey, and they gave Liz to the new Miss Frizzle, and it's kind of like, why does she have a golden monkey? Why couldn't the new Miss Frizzle be the one with the golden monkey? Also, a redhead with a golden monkey. I wonder who that sounds like. Pretty much it's like this. Miss Frizzle is their teacher. She's this redhead that's very kooky, very silly, very smart, very zany. She's also magical. It's never explained why she's magical. And it's also implied she's immortal, which is never implied again, like how she's immortal. She's always talking about her family members when quoting something, when trying to solve the day or whatever thing she's trying to help the kids with. Now, her class is a typical, like, elementary class. So your teacher pretty much teaches you everything. But Miss Frizzle likes to delve more into science. So whenever the kids have a problem, she tries to solve it by taking them on a field trip. They literally go on a field trip every day on this magic school bus. And, Miss Frizzle, her catchphrase is get messy. Her catchphrase is take chances, get messy, and what is it? Take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. Okay, that's it. And she feels like that's the only way you're ever gonna learn anything. If you don't, and that's really the truth of the matter. If you don't take chances in life, you're never gonna truly accomplish everything and have guts. And never and instead you'll just be more cowardly and stuff if you don't take chances. And making mistakes is kind of like, okay, you can't always get everything right. Don't purposely make mistakes, but kind of like when you do make a mistake, then you can see the error in your ways and try to correct it. The whole messy thing is just fun, because what's a little fun without a little mess? And so every day she would help her students get a true understanding of the real world, scientifically, animals, bugs, flowers, reproduction, how animals migrate from one part of the world to another. It was just all this really good stuff that she was teaching them. And she always put her students' life in danger, but she made sure they never died. Now, as for the redesign, I'm okay with them having new clothes and everything. Cause it was some nice clothes. It was nice to modernize them. It was also nice to give them some of the people new hairstyles. I like Tim's new hairstyle. I like Keisha's new hairstyle. Dorothy Ann, who is my all-time favorite from the original one, I do not like her new hairstyle. I like her with pigtails. That was her identifier, other than her being really smart. I don't like Arnold's new redesign. I don't like the new character that Arnold has become. This Arnold is a little bit mean and snarky and rude. He still has his memorable catchphrase, but it's the new Arnold, that green shirt makes him look evil. He's always looking pissy. He got the new Miss Frizzle literally fired in the first episode and stuff, because he just had enough of the original old Miss Frizzle. But then he later came to his senses, and then he became somewhat of a nicer, more character and stuff. But this Arnold isn't as nerdy as the old one. Even Wanda's mom got a redesign. But this is one thing that's cool. Her mom is played by the original voice actress. Now, something I did state in the first recording is one thing that's really confusing about this new series is I assume this would be years, a year has passed since they was last seen in the original series. But no, this actually takes place within the original series, which makes no sense. It makes no sense as to how or when Miss Frizzle like got her PhD and now all of a sudden left. So if it's like the full school year, this has to be after like winter or spring break or something like that. Like it just doesn't make no sense. And it doesn't make sense for their personalities to all change. And I mean, it makes sense for their clothes and hair to change, but the other things just don't make no sense. And for them to hire a teacher on the spot who happens to be her sister is just kind of weird. Now, one thing with the new Miss Frizzle, Fiona Frizzle, the old Miss Frizzle, she was very eccentric. She had this wild, kooky personality and a really motherly type like feel to her. And she wore these very strange dresses where her entire dress would take on whatever subject matter the episode was about. Her dresses were like magical. With the new Miss Frizzle, only the lower part of her dress changes. And it's not even all that like exciting. Gone is that kooky craziness of like, the dresses and the appearances. 'Cause I remember the kids in the original series and the original Miss Frizzle, the kids will always be talking about she is so weird and all this other stuff. And it's just like, because she was this bat stir crazy. But this new Miss Frizzle, she's trying way too hard to be like the old one. And it's just coming off as a cheap imitation of it. Miss Valerie Frizzle is like the teacher everybody wanted. And Miss Fiona Frizzle is like the substitute teacher you don't want. Now the kids. I love the kids in this series. They are great. They all have their own unique personalities. In the original series, that is. In the new series, for the most part, they all kind of act the same. And it's really disappointing because these characters are some of the best characters you'll ever see in a cartoon series. They're fictional, but they act realistic, like a real child would. Dorothy Ann D.A., she is the smart one of the group. She's always researching stuff. And she's always talking about, her catchphrase is, according to my research, and she will always have like a book with her and stuff. Because she will always constantly be looking into it. And whenever somebody be messing with her books, she'll get mad. If you like try to denounce her research, she will get pissed at you. In this new series, I don't remember really recalling seeing the new DA having books. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. And maybe it got replaced with a tablet, which doesn't make no sense if this show could be set in the 90s. Wanda. Wanda was a spunky spitfire of a character. She had this really cool phrase. I think she might even had two. One of them was what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Like whenever she'd get like really worried. And then the other one would be all like, come on, you Weasley wimps. She was the tough girl of the group. She was a go-getter. She rushed into danger. She was really smart, but she was also very selfish. In the new series, she's just ordinary. Like, I don't recall hearing her catchphrase in season 1. I don't recall her jumping into danger. I don't recall her being tough. She's just like a character. Ralphie is, I believe he's Italian in this season. And they kind of made him a little bit of a stereotype. Like, he's really lazy. He doesn't like doing chores. He will do anything to get out of them. He loves sports and comic books like to death. Like, he is the sports guy, which is why he's always wearing a cap. And he'd rather do that than have to do like his chores and everything. There was a really cool episode where the kids go inside his body because he's sick and they're trying to fight his infection. They retold this in the new episode or the new series with Carlos instead. Carlos is the class clown. He does everything he can to make people laugh. He's Latino. He he has this one pun. I forgot what it is. He always makes puns and one-liners, and the class always has a recurring line of Carlos because they get so tired of his bad puns and stuff. But he is such a cool character. But he's really there just for comedic relief. He does have some center episodes where that I think revolve around his brother and some other thing. He clashes with other classmates. Phoebe. Ugh, I'm so pissed they got rid of Phoebe, man. I think she was Jewish. I'm not really sure. She was something I know. But yeah, she was like the heart of the show. She cared about animals. Even when they went to the desert, she was willing to stay there for the rest of her life and give all the water she had to like the plants and the animals, even when the other kids needed the water. It's just, she always had that one catchphrase of, well, in my old school, we used to blah, 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 and stuff. And even her old school was called Phoebe's Old School. And she had one center episode where it's about gravity, and another one where she turns into a plant and learns about mitosis and stuff and photosynthesis. And she was just like an adorable, like kind-hearted character. Keisha was very headstrong in the original series. She didn't take lip from like nobody. She was always, even if it was Miss Frizzle, like when she was determined to find something out, she was determined. Especially when her, what was it, her cucumber turned into a pickle and she thought Miss Frizzle ate it or something like that. She was proving the show that Miss Frizzle ate her cucumber. Oh, and it turned out it turned into a pickle because of bacteria. And it's just, she's very spunky, she's very smart, she's very driven. She could have been like the leader of the kids group if she wanted to. That's how like driven and like headstrong she was. I don't remember nothing about her from the new series. I kind of feel bad reviewing it because I don't really remember. I might have spoke about her in the first recording, cause after I saw it, but I don't know. Arnold was the lovable nerd of the show. He was a coward. He hated going on field trips. He hated his life being in danger. Because Miss Frizzle, as much as she loves them kids, she puts their lives in danger. I'm surprised she still had a job. And so, like, Arnold, he dreaded going on a field trip. He always had that one cool catchphrase that's even in the intro. He always wants to stay home. The only time he wants to do a field trip is when he wants to prove somebody wrong. And like, you know, for the most part, he is like the cowardly wimp of like this show. And it was one cool episode we had him when he turns orange because he kept eating seaweedies. And then we got to go inside his body twice to see how the digestive system works and all this other cool stuff. Then there's the new series. Dude is just mean in the first season. Like, he's a little snarky, he's a little rude. And he even gets the new Miss Frizzle fired, like I said before. After a while, I think they do turn back into his dorky self, but he's more like Darky's sarcastic type of dorky. And then there's Tim. The only thing I remember about Tim in the original one is that he used to draw a lot, and he was just a background character. They ain't do nothing for that man, or boy, or whatever. And so, like, then after a while, when his voice got a new voice actor, then they started making him a little bit more interesting. He was kind of like a little bit of a leader and stuff. Always trying to figure out like the missing piece of the puzzle to like try and figure something out science-wise. And that's really just about it. He was mainly just a recurring background character. And then there's the new one, and I don't remember nothing much about him. Like, it's so sad how they do these characters sometimes, you know? I don't remember nothing about the new character, and that's just how forgettable he is. And with some of the other ones too. Liz is still in the new series, but she has a redesign that's dreadful, awful looking. She stays with the new Miss Frizzle, which I thought she should have been with the old one, but they didn't do that. In the original series, Liz was lazy. She always wanted to lounge out, but she was the assistant. She helped Miss Frizzle out in every way possible. She was the one always pressing the buttons. She was the one always trying to rescue the kids at most times. Miss Frizzle couldn't. She was like a real trooper. So in one of the specials, they had Miss Frizzle, and she split into 3 parts. What does that have to do with teaching somebody about science? Like, what? Now, back in the old school one, there was a really cool episode where they split the kids up into prisms, into different colors, teaching them about light, light waves, colors, the rainbow, stuff like that. It was a much more better and like informative episode. What is so scientific about this? It's literally just an adventure episode. What happened was lightning hit the bus and then it split into three along with Miss Frizzle. And I believe the kids also. And they got scattered around the world. And so they had to like combine all of them back together to make it whole. And so like one was Miss Frizzle's humor, one was bravery, one was her intelligence. And it's just kind of like, that's not scientific. I'm not like, oh, learn nothing from that. It's an adventure episode, sure, but this isn't what the Magic School Bus is supposed to be about. But, like I said before, the original series, you can't beat that. All of these Netflix reboots, they suck. I don't like the new Carmen Sandiego one. I haven't seen the new He-Man yet, but I definitely do not like the Magic School Bus rides again. It's just the magic was gone. And they gave us a cheap imitation of it. And so it's kind of like, it's just like you can watch the original one and you can have an extremely good time and you can learn a lot. With this new one, I don't even remember what I learned. I remember a tree episode, but that's about it. And they rehashed a lot of the old episodes that we saw in the original one, but just retooled them and stuff and retold certain different elements. And it's kind of like I didn't need to go in space again. I didn't need to go inside somebody's mouth again. I didn't need to know what happens when a person gets sick because we already done that in the original series. It would have been nice to have something new and fresh in the new series, which the tree episode was kind of new and fresh. Alrighty, well I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.